tries to throw you in a can. What? You're going to want a shotgun. Oh. What? An automatic rifle. And a lot of ammo. Good.
We're all set to riot. My gun. Before you lose your Second Amendment. My gun. They'll burn you out like a Waco. They'll stick your ass in a camp. Check for the cops in riot gear. Gonna kick your ass and laugh. The revolution is on its way. Better lock and load your AK. My gun, my gun, my gun, my gun, my gun, my gun, my gun. Before you wish you bought a gun. My gun, my gun, my gun, my gun, my gun, my gun. Before you wish you bought a gun. We're all set to riot. My gun. Before you lose your Second Amendment. My gun. They gave your money to the banksters. They stole your pension funds. It's time that we took to the streets. It's time we had our turn. A revolution is on its way, and the founding fathers would say, "My gun, my gun, my gun, my gun, my gun, my gun, my gun." Before you wish you bought a gun. My gun, my gun, my gun, my gun, my gun, my gun. Before you wish you bought a gun. You got a riot in the streets. Revolution's not clean and neat. You got a riot in the streets. Revolution's not clean and neat. You gotta drag 'em through the streets.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is Tuesday. We are live. This is PrimerTime on UCY.tv. My name is Michael, and I'm sorry for missing the last couple of weeks.
My name is Nicholas, and thank God I did not come home from North Korea in a coma.
Dude, tell me about that. Isn't that odd that CNN announces Dennis Rodman's arrival in North Korea and makes a great big spectacle over it, and within an hour, the North Koreans release that guy, and nobody associates the two. I think Dennis Rodman is our James Bond.
You know, I wouldn't say that. I would say that North Korea does not want the blood of a dead American who was in their hostage protection program on their hands.
Tourist storage unit.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, so this guy actually has some local ties to my area. Otto Warmbier is a student at the University of Virginia, better known as the house that Thomas Jefferson's slaves built, and he was in North Korea as part of a tour group, and on film they have him trying to swipe a propaganda banner. Shortly after he made his impassioned plea to the generous DPR Korea's people to grant him leniency. Apparently, he was beaten pretty badly and fell into a coma shortly after contracting botulism. So,
that means they beat him with a can of like really bad kimchi.
Something, right? And apparently, the doctors there in their limited medical capacity gave him a sleeping pill, told him to sleep it off, and apparently he ain't woke up yet.
What the hell kind of sleeping pill is that?
I wouldn't want to.
I've got
to find that out.
Experience, and I'd actually like to find that out just for shits and giggles. I mean, that's interesting information right there.
Yeah.
Apparently, this boy Otto Warmbier was trying to steal some sort of DPRK propaganda banner from a secret room in the hotel he was at, and I've watched a few documentaries on how the North Korean hotels accommodate their Western guests, and it's I think the closest analogy would be like the view of those old Western movie sets where it's got the whole town, but it's actually just a front. And I think he kind of slipped behind one of those fronts and found out that there was other things afoot and decided to bail out of there, but they got him. And yeah, I don't know. They beat him, drugged him, and
here's the thing.
He won't do that again.
I guarantee you he's not going to be doing much again, because if you spent the last year in a coma from botulism poisoning, that might be the very last coma you have for the rest of your life.
I want to say that, number one, we don't know the truth about anything.
Oh, no. I mean, the way I look at it is, you play stupid games in North Korea, you win stupid North Korean prizes, and his prize was botulism.
And that one, if you fuck around in North Korea, man, look, you you pay your money, you take your chances, man. That's dumb. I'm sorry. And you know what? Really, the shitty thing is that kid was probably trying to do that so he could make a video and put it on YouTube.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
So he get 50,000 views, and I'm gonna monetize this. End up making like this or something.
Yeah. So and the way I look at it is, you want to talk about white privilege? That guy, take a look at him. Pleading impassionately to be released. That was white privilege in a nutshell. This is a guy who, number one, flaunted the fact that he was going to go to North Korea, which is pretty much off limits to, most U.S. Americans. Shout out to my girl from South Carolina. But
people with maps.
Yeah, if he would have had a map and knew where North Korea was, chances are he wouldn't have gone there. Number two, you go steal something in somebody else's country. Oh, I'm sorry, your U.S. American protections don't really guarantee you any kind of protection over there.
And especially somebody that we can't really necessarily fly like planes over their president's house without like causing nuclear war. That's not what we do.
Yeah, certainly. So, the way I look at it, having been to Korea twice in my life, never did I ever want to go over there longer than I absolutely had to, and was just basically happy to get the hell up out of there. I can't think for 1 minute that somebody would want to go to North Korea voluntarily, and number two, be stupid enough to do something that's going to get them yanked off a plane, which is pretty much just being an American over there. Because, if you're... Go ahead.
How much of this do you think is a result of, a combination of like the cultural Marxism that's going on right now in the United States and the trend of hipsters trying to...
Well, so there is a type of...
the goats of the past, so to speak.
Well, okay, so check this out. There is a brand of tourism. People do this high adrenaline, or what do they call it, adventure tourism. Okay, right. So in a sense, this is what I would say is adventure tourism. North Korea is off limits to most Americans, and some guy had an opportunity to go and he went. A big deal, but you got to go there knowing that 99.9% of the time, if you're an American, you're going to get yanked, and you are going to be the next, bargaining chip in North Korea's game. If you don't know that going there, you should literally choke yourself, because that's exactly what you're going to be. I mean, there was a 78-year, God, he was even probably older than that. He had been in the Korean War. He went to North Korea, and he had been a medic. And for those of you who don't know, medics don't routinely carry firearms other than a pistol in combat, because of their Geneva Convention's protections. They carry a sidearm to defend themselves and their patients. They don't carry a rifle. They certainly don't carry anything that's a crew-served weapon. They yanked this guy off a plane. He's 85-something years old, and they accused him of war crimes. That tells you something right then and there.
You know what? Honestly, if you kind of like look at the performance, and I mean, look, it's war, all right? And honestly, the goal in war should be to win, aside from what we practice now, which is just to play. But the actual effect of the United States on North Korea, I mean, General Curtis LeMay was vocal about being seen as the equivalent of a war criminal. I mean, this is not long after the Nuremberg trials, and they hung what? I don't know how many was it, like 70 Nazis, 170 Nazis or something like that after the Nuremberg trial. General Curtis LeMay was absolutely petrified of being viewed in the same way, and with good reason, because, I mean, straight up honest, we bombed the ever-living fuck out of North Korea. I mean, like we destroyed 99.5% of everything above ground in North Korea. I mean,
Yeah.
you've ever seen any of those pictures of like artillery in North Korea? There's guys in trucks, in the back of like big deuce and a half trucks. I mean, these things are huge trucks, right? I mean, it's way bigger than, the lifted Chevy pickup truck at the park at the dealership. It's a big, heavy utility truck, and they are surrounded. And what I mean by surrounded, it's like as far as the camera, the field of view in the camera, by the top of the wheel high, empty artillery casing. And I'm sure that's not the only ones that did that. I mean, we bombed we did bomb the ever living hell out of them. So I can almost see that. If you were a soldier and you fought in the Korean War, it's probably not a good idea to go back there.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, any American that goes back there.
Medic,
yeah, he just wanted to go back and see. It's not unlike the World War II vets who went back to Iwo Jima in the sense that they wanted to have some closure.
I think it's completely different because, number one, technically we're still at war with Korea.
Well, it's not technically. We are. If you don't have a peace treaty, you're still at war. You can have detente. You can have a ceasefire.
If you participated in that war, it's probably best to not go there unless you have the full faith and credit of the United States Marine Corps willing to go in there and fuck things up for you. I mean, that's just really not. That's not smart travel. Don't take any travel tips from that old man.
Yeah,
I mean, that wasn't a good move on his part. I mean,
no, but I mean, here's the thing. So people are going to do adventure tourism. People are going to travel. People are going to go places. Well, that's like going to Chernobyl. You want to see the big, the big sarcophagus, the big,
That's another one. If you play stupid games,
you're going to win stupid prizes. So the way I look at it is the dude got everything he ever wanted out of this trip. Maybe a little bit more, but he got everything he wanted.
Yeah, he got way more than the T-shirt.
Yeah. So, do I think we should have sent Dennis Rodman to go up there? No. But, whatever.
I think that Trump actually sent Dennis Rodman up there? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I'm just saying, why have Rex Tillerson actually engage in direct contact with the DPR Korea's foreign ministry? Whatever. That's why we don't have individual representation in their country, and they don't have it in ours.
I know. I find the whole North Korea being the greatest threat to the United States is almost laughable. Yeah. I mean, I really do. I mean, I doubt their missile technology, but who cares if they have that missile technology? We've spent enough bajillions of dollars over the last 50 fucking years. Should be able to shoot down anything that they even remotely think about throwing above, 20 feet above their heads. We should have like a great big fucking laser in the sky that just zaps everything out of there because we paid for it like 7 or 8 times over.
Yeah, and what's worse is that for all the posturing that we got going on between South Korea, Japan, and in that North Korea triangle, we have yet to demonstrably show North Korea that we are not willing to do anything. We've moved some carriers into the area. We've had some flybys of strategic bombers. But if you put one B-52 in the air and you expect them to cower in fear, well, I'm sorry. They've got hardened artillery sites like you were talking about inside their mountains that we're not going to be able to get to.
Right, we'd have to blow up the entire freaking mountain. We'd have to use as many nuclear weapons as we'd use like on Indonesia on that one mountain.
Yeah, and I'm all for it, but yeah, I don't think we're gonna have. I don't think we're gonna.
I find the concept that a nation that can't afford to have a sufficient food supply and the infrastructure to deliver food to all of its citizens 3 times a day, and thus has to supplement food supplies with state-produced methamphetamine. I do, and then let's not even like get into the fact that the average North Korean soldier is like 6 inches shorter than the South Korean soldier. And straight up honest, them South Koreans, they ain't super tall motherfuckers or anything. You know, I mean, I'm taller than them, and I'm not super tall.
Oh yeah,
you know.
But I'll tell you what, you know, you get.
So we're like, well, we're scared of like these like midgets on meth that don't have driver's licenses. Seriously,
well,
that's the greatest threat to our democracy. Fucking hey, that's the merchant's programming at work right there. I mean, thank you CNN, for Christ's sakes. We need Alan Dershowitz to explain to us why North Korea is the greatest threat. You know what? I bet you North Korea was sponsoring, the alt-right to go and knock over Jewish cemeteries
in Korea.
Right. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that's just one thing I'm glad I would rather go through another strep throat bout than have to deal with prison in North Korea.
I would advise all listeners of Primer Time to avoid any trips to North Korea.
Yes. They may have unicorns and they may have meth, but the prison sentences are not very good.
Supposedly they have marijuana is a non-issue in North Korea, and it's apparently it grows wild next to like all the train tracks, and the government actually encourages its growth because of the root system, and it helps with erosion and shit like that.
Yeah, could be. I'll tell you what, they gotta do whatever they can.
It grows like a quote unquote weed, so they don't produce anything other than apparently nuclear weapons and malfunctioning missiles.
Yeah. Well, and it's weird. Don't you ever find it odd that it's very hard to come back with the footage of when the missiles don't make it off the launch pad?
I have never seen any footage of anything from North Korea that wasn't absolutely like spiked with patriotic Korean music and thousands of people either laughing, cheering, crying, or saluting. And then the chubby fat dude walking around like halfway military, weighing 3 times as much as any other Korean that surrounds him. But,
Yeah, that's true.
The leader shares your struggle, common man.
Yeah. Well, hey, I wanted to actually talk about something good. And, since I've been out of the net for about 2 weeks, we've got some really good folks in our academies. One of the things is a young Air Force Academy cadet who has created a type of body armor that is it's actually better than what we currently have. And, things like this need to actually be celebrated. So, we have the... Yes.
I read a little bit about this. She supposedly created a body armor that is equivalent to a level 3 vest, a level 3A vest with a what is it? I think it's a 1/4 inch of AR-500 steel in it. Is what it could be souped up to where it could take more. Is that correct?
Well, this is actually good stuff. So it's actually designed to defeat 7.62 rounds. So basically, exactly what our enemies are using, and the armor. It is a little bit heavier, but you're protecting people. So you ask the modern soldier, would you rather have more protection or would you rather have less weight? Well, I mean, it's a toss up. Do you want to have
both?
Yeah, why can't we have both? But I think this is actually pretty good. So her name is she's a second lieutenant for the Air Force's name. Her name is Haley Weir. And she did an anti-ballistic fabric that can be combined with shear thickening fluid to further decrease weight. So, if cornstarch can be used for something other than cornbread and it can stop bullets, I'm listening. Shear
fluid is kind of along the lines of like I believe it's Tal Flatermouse and maybe Iraqi veteran 8888 and a couple other personalities on YouTube have done a few tests with the oversized gummy bears. And generally these are 5-pound gummy bears, and they're actually edible. They actually make this. If you eat 5 pounds of gummy bear, God help your intestines.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I after I saw these videos, I won't eat gummy bears ever again because I just imagine the wear and tear this puts on your gut. But they've done several videos where the 5-pound gummy bear has stopped smaller caliber, and I should say smaller caliber and lower velocity cartridges. It stopped every handgun round that they tested on. I've seen everything from a 22 to a 40 caliber. I didn't see anybody shoot it with a 10 millimeter, but it stopped every handgun caliber. It stopped shotgun shells. Birdshot. It stopped buckshot. It stopped some slugs, and it stopped wax slugs, which was kind of amazing to me. So yeah, that shear thickening fluid is there's
so anybody who's got like a middle school age kid has worked with this before because they made something called gack. And gack is something that's like a cornstarch mixed with water and mixed with some other stuff. And usually they add like a food color. Glue. Yeah, Elmer's glue and water and whatnot. And this stuff is pliable until it like, just solidifies. But that's the same premise, right? So, hats off to the young lieutenant for doing something that may have a practical application.
Now, let's talk about the financial side of this. Because she's in the Army, is she?
No, Air Force. She's in the Air Force. Let's not give her that much credit.
All right. You did good, honey, but not that good.
Yep, you're still riding a chair.
Will she, if this becomes an actual commercial product, or a commercial product sold to the military or something like that, will she receive any like royalty or anything off of this?
So that's an interesting question because she did this as part of her employment with the U.S. government. So
right. So
it's my understanding that this is a U.S. government product, even though her intellectual property rights, she may have a claim to that. This was done as a research project for her graduation requirements. So I believe this is a U.S. government manufactured thing that's going to retain the rights and copyrights.
Interesting. Yeah. I hope you end with a nice career after the military for this.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a lieutenant who does her 4 years and gets the hell out to go work for Dow. So in the meantime, we have the end of an era, and the era that I'm talking about is the end of 22 long rifle rationing at Walmart.
Well, let's all put our hands together for Walmart ending the rationing. And then let's take our hands back apart until Walmart actually puts some ammo on the shelf.
On the shelf, yeah.
It doesn't matter if you can buy all you can grab if there ain't none there to grab.
Yeah, that is true.
I've been to my Walmarts. There's three Walmarts within my relative driving range, and none of them have any more than one or two boxes of 22. And it's always gold. It's always Golden Bullet, and it's either like a 222 or a 333 pack of Golden Bullet, and nothing CCI. Academy, however, on the other hand, has lots of 22. And I would consider stocking up if I was a intense user of 22, owned a 1022, maybe owned a single 6 or Ruger Mark II or something like that. I'd stock up, maybe get 1,000 rounds or something and sit on it.
Just hold on to it.
Wouldn't hurt. We all saw what happened, in the last 5 years. 22. Seriously, 22 was gone within 4 days. It was seriously gone within 4 days, and really all ammo was gone within a week, man. And I know you weren't here when that happened, but I remember. I went to R&M Guns. That's on Highway 59 outside of El Campo, Texas, and they're a really nice gun shop. They're one of the old timey gun shops in the fact that they have like rifles that you can actually walk up and pick and work the action on, and they're in a rack on the sales floor. Pistols are behind the counter, but everybody there knows what they're talking about. They don't have a bunch of 19-year-old kids who are just doing this for the, $7.50 an hour kind of a thing. These guys are professionals. Well, they also sell a hell of a lot of ammo. And I went in there, and they had maybe 20 cases of 9mm. And I don't remember what kind it was, but it was, current manufacturer, probably 115 grain in 1,000 round cases. And I thought, well, I'm coming back up here tomorrow. I'll bring some money. Boom, it was gone the next day.
Oh yeah. Well, it's interesting because we have the news reports that gun sales are down since Donald Trump has taken office, and that's not a surprise. The panic that people felt and the fear that people felt.
The obvious panic is not there, but there are many efforts to reenact and repush. I truly think that the left, liberal, whatever, anti-gun side really truly thinks that Trump and his backers are weak. I truly feel that they've swallowed their own Kool-Aid, and they think that just because CNN and MSNBC bitch about Trump all day, that they can sway the however many, what did they say it was? How many Americans voted for Trump? 63 or something like that?
Yeah, it was about 1.5 million less.
Yeah, so they could sway the 62 or 63 million Americans that vote for Trump because they say bad things about him on TV all day. Well, newsflash, they voted for Trump because you said bad things about him. You're like a contrarian indicator. Do opposite of what these people say.
Well, and that's the thing. The base that seemingly never makes it into any of the polls. Somehow, his approval rating has gone down. And these all must be the people who, number one, weren't voting for Trump, and number two, weren't captured in any of the polls before, right? So
right.
I don't think Trump's core and his base supporters have gone anywhere. I think they like the fact that this guy is doing exactly what he said he was going to do. Not only that, the only thing that he's been doing has been getting, basically he's been getting sidelined by his own Republican Congress, who has seemingly forgot that they have stuff to do in between accusations by the Washington Post, New York Times, and CNN.
And if we'll notice that every time they say there's strong right-wing opposition to what Trump is doing, it's always Lindsey Graham and
John McCain. Yeah.
It's always...
And here we go. You talk about John McCain. John McCain being the one guy who has single-handedly been a thorn in Trump's side since he's taken office. You know what? And maybe that's his right to do for being called out for being, captured during the Vietnam War. But the way I look at it is John McCain is routinely facing challengers in Arizona for his Senate seat. And, this is something that he wouldn't have expected 8 years ago when he was the Republican nominee for president. So,
well, I don't know if you happen to catch, and you may not have because you've got a little bit different schedule, but McCain actually questioned Comey at those hearings, and I swear to God, McCain was on some drugs. He was barely coherent, and then after it, maybe an hour or so after his publicly and visibly ridiculed testimony, he said that he stayed up late watching the Arizona Diamondbacks.
watching the Arizona Diamondbacks. Yeah,
right. That's code word for I had a bunch of Ambien and wine last night.
That's it.
That's really what that is.
Nowhere have I been that I could claim that I had to stay up last night to watch a ball game and be just excused for making a fool out of myself.
Dude, completely fucking incoherent. It was like a slaughter of the English language. It's like he picked into the bag of words and created a salad. It just had all kinds of everything in it, and it was filling, but whatever. Didn't really have much substance to it.
Yeah, crazy. And you know what the sad thing is? This is what happens when you have an establishment candidate. Just remember a few years back, wasn't he the maverick? Wasn't he the guy that was going to be the end of the Republican Party?
How do you say maverick in Farsi?
Yeah.
In Arabic. That's what I'd like to know.
Who knows? Who knows? So, that's the funny thing.
Al-Amariki.
Yeah.
I heard Baghdadi got bombed the other day. The only reason I'm saying that.
So, that's an interesting thing because, these
friend.
these claims come out all the time, and there's a good amount of money on his head, so might be somebody just trying to come up with a claim.
A couple years ago, the number 3 guy in Al Qaeda fucking died like 12 times within like 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, the number 3 guy in Al Qaeda should be like a red shirt on Star Trek. He on the away team, that's the guy who should die.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, they made a claim that he's been killed. So we shall see.
Yeah, I think we've heard it before.
Well, and the interesting thing is this one is a little different. This one isn't being claimed that he was killed in direct contact. This one says that he was caught in an artillery bombardment, and that he was pretty much in the middle of a very large salvo of artillery rounds.
That'll work.
So
I mean, honestly, that guy's kind of he's an interesting study because he's a complete and 100% product of like the Western intelligence agencies, namely the CIA and the MI6 and Mossad. I mean, there's very, very credible rumors that Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, his real name is Elliot Shimon.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Wouldn't surprise us if, it was shown that Mr. Elliot Shimon had, training from our boys at the Mossad. Thanks guys. You're doing a bang-up job. Say hi to your boss,
possibly.
For us.
Yeah, quite possibly. Well, that's the other thing. So we are getting into the middle. We're what, 8 days? Today's the 13th of June. We are 8 days away from the official beginning of summer. Is it not the summer solstice?
What, on the 20th, I think, something like that.
Yeah. Spring has come and likely gone. And I have not heard of one. I have not heard of one hurricane yet in the East Coast. Have you?
You hush your mouth.
Hush my non-scientific believing mouth.
You don't even say the H word on this show.
Yeah, it's amazing. And here we live on the eastern seaboard. This is well within hurricane zone.
It's like Beetlejuice. If you say it 3 times, it happens. Don't say it again, dude. It's the H.
So I'm looking forward to it because next week I will be down in sunny Central Florida, and we'll be doing the live feed from Orlando Disney, possibly. Depends on if I can make it swing. We've had a graduation in my family. We have my daughter who has acceded to the rightful throne of a high school graduate. And we're going to go ahead and take her off as a last hurrah to childhood and say, get your ass a job.
Well, congratulations to my niece. And that's a big step. Did better than me. I was a dropout.
Yeah, but you dropped out and went back and dropped out and went back. You had gumption.
I had a lack of stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah, but you also had a lack of quit because you kept trying to go back.
Yeah, well, I just couldn't make up my mind at that time.
Yeah, well, what else? But no, actually, it was interesting because when most people think about their high school graduation, it's like on your football field or in your indoor arena. No, hers was at the University of Virginia.
Ooh, that's kind of nice.
Talking about the money in the ghetto.
Speaking of the University of Virginia, and I know you guys are going through some like political upheaval there. What was the atmosphere on the campus like?
Well, so on the campus itself, the campus is pretty much the entire city of Charlottesville. It's just one of those things where if you are big into campus life, you're much more read into it. Being a townie, you don't really know what goes in. Everything is really about what thing to protest this week or what thing to protest that week. So you don't.
How can you be outraged?
Yeah, I don't make nearly enough money to be outraged. Put it that way.
Well, I don't even think it's a matter of how much money you make and being outraged, because there's plenty of people who have this. I'd almost call it a fake and perpetual outbreak.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
Outrage, I mean, they are the perpetually perturbed.
Oh,
And,
yeah. Professionally upset.
And I'll tell you, there's plenty of those that have a lot of money, and then there's plenty of useful idiots out there that have no money that go along with it. And
willingly, I might add.
I mean, then there's plenty of what we call the intelligentsia that are, involved in this. And I got to keep on going back to that thing that Mr. Teeter posted one time about, Comrade Cletus and Comrade Jamal thinking your bourgeois ways will no longer work in your great society.
That's right.
They kneel you down and put a bullet in your head. In the time-honored communist tradition. But it's okay, because like 7 years ago, all you said was, "Well, we've not really tried real communism yet."
Yeah, it hasn't been done right.
Right. That's all just been status crap. We need to try real communism.
Yeah. Well, and there are those out here that believe in that wholeheartedly.
Oh, absolutely. And I think those are the same people like when we were growing up that would have just been called contrary.
Yeah. Well, the way I look at it is, those people will come and go. But you sent me that link from YouTube that had the great exchange between Sam Kinison and Rodney Dangerfield in the cult classic Back to School. And say it. It's kind of like that, You've got the people who grow up knowing one thing just because it's what they've been told. And then you've got the people who actually lived it and are more than happy to school the idiot on what he didn't know.
Yeah, Professor Sam Kinison in that movie is. I don't think he's employed at any school in the United States anymore. I don't.
He may be, but you know what I mean. That type of professor is few and far between.
He's definitely not employed at Evergreen College.
Oh, no. That isn't. Maybe the opposite direction.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, look, tonight hasn't been a whole lot about firearms, but we've been gone for a while, and in the time we've been gone, there's been other things that have been going on other than firearms that eventually will affect firearms. And honestly, I see cultural upheaval coming. And not necessarily in a good way. Yeah.
You had the information about the for our lesbian, queer, bisexual, transgendered followers out there. We didn't realize that you guys are switching up acronyms on us.
Yeah, the P thing. Good luck with that. You're gonna need it.
You're on your own.
I can't abide that, but I mean. We've got that kind of like breakdown of our nation's moral character, right? And I mean, I don't really care what your religious belief is or your personal moral beliefs are, but you have to understand. I mean, this is our nation, and it was built on several principles. And family, may not be directly mentioned in the Constitution. The Constitution wouldn't exist without family, and that's trying to be. I think that's trying to be eliminated. And really, I think the concept behind this is to promote sex without reproduction and then obtain reproduction without sex. And once you get to that point, you can make family a dirty word.
Oh, yeah, because who are you to hate?
I mean, I'm telling you, man, that LGBTP thing is coming. And they're going to push pedosexual, and they are going to tell you that, you are a bad person for not tolerating those who love in a different fashion than you.
Yeah, that's not acceptable.
It's not acceptable, and I'll tell you what, whoever fights back. And one more, that's another one of those, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, because that is the stupidest game. That's the most evil game, and I got no problem with whatever happens to somebody who's like starting to push that.
Yeah, not only that. I mean, you're gonna run across the wrong family at one point, and some dad or some mom is not going to take too kindly to you going after their kid.
Absolutely. I mean, I was in the UCY.TV chat a while ago, and there was a story, I think maybe Philadelphia or someplace like that. It was a large major metro American area. And it was a story about a, big old boy putting on girl clothes and putting on makeup and everything. And he's a drag queen transvestite or whatever. And his job is he goes to the library and reads, books to kids, which, that's admirable and all that. But seriously, I didn't watch the whole clip just because it was kind of disgusting. But within like the first minute and a half after they show this guy, like the pimping routine he has to go through to like put on like, look like a whore.
There you go with your hate.
Right. My intolerance. He gets up. Well, wait up. You're gonna get some of the intolerance after this too.
Yeah.
But he gets up and walks into the little foyer area where all the kids are there to listen to the person read the story to him. And who wants to be a drag queen when they grow up? And a bunch of little kids. Me. You know what? All right. At that point, I'm sorry. Call me whatever kind of fascist, Nazi, whatever you want to call me. Drag that one out and boom. I'm sorry you don't get to push your fucking perversion on kids. Boom. Send the fucking bill for the bullet to his family. Used to. Don't skim.
Yeah. That's and that's coming what? That bill is coming out of California?
Oh, California I think's got something to reduce the age of consent to like 14 or something like that. But, California's also got a bill that recently basically legalized child prostitution.
My goodness.
So, it's not a bill called to legalize child prostitution, but the provisions of the law basically make child prostitution legal.
And, and it's not like there isn't opportunities for them, because think about the immigrant population or the illegal immigrant population. You have quite a few people who, import their children, and that is the currency. So this stuff is going on already.
Well, and it doesn't just go on at that level. It goes on at the highest levels. Straight up honest, like Trump went to Epstein's pedo island. All right. Clinton went to pedo island. Bill Clinton did. Hillary did. All right. Jeffrey Epstein, you cannot tell me that man is not a Mossad asset. And you can't tell me that every one of them boner rooms that he's got on that mansion does not have 40 different cameras in it. Everybody who's been there and porked like a 14-year-old Ukrainian kid is on tape. And Trump went there 7 times. Bill Clinton went there 40-something times. And Hillary went there like 8 times.
Which is really just making me shake my head.
I'm telling you, look up Jeffrey Epstein pedo island.
I know all about it.
It's... And what are we worried about? My Soviet cahoots. Oh, there might be collusion. Oh, the Russians tried to hack our election. Motherfuckers, straight up honest. The cover of Time magazine in August, I think it's the August 13th edition, 1992, has a picture, a cartoon picture of Boris Yeltsin holding a fucking American flag and a Russian flag with the title, "The Yanks Are Coming." You don't give me this bullshit about we never fucked with anybody's election. That's our stock and trade.
Yeah. Talk with any banana republic in Central or South America.
Joe, no kidding, man. And straight up honest, and Hillary had all that help, and she still didn't win. Come on now.
God, why couldn't we figure that out earlier, right?
I don't know, man, but I got a feeling that this is not going to end well. We missed the Kathy Griffin holding up the head thing. All right, holding up Trump's, the visage of Trump's decapitated head.
Yeah, but now there's a Broadway play with that.
Right, there's a Shakespeare in the Park in New York City, which has been endorsed by CNN's Dr. Fareed Zakaria as a masterpiece, a must-see event. And in this, they're doing a modernized version of Julius Caesar Shakespeare, of Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, rather. And in that story, Julius Caesar ends up getting stabbed by a bunch of his senators. Well, they've portrayed Trump as Julius Caesar, and of course, follows the storyline, and he gets stabbed all to hell.
Et tu, Brute.
Right, and they make this that it's obviously Trump, right? A tall blonde guy,
complete with Slavic wife.
Exactly, Slavic wife in fashion, in high dollar European fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So I see things like this, and honestly, like they talk about the deep state on TV, like that's just crazy talk. There is no such thing as a deep state. Meanwhile, we've been in Afghanistan for like 12 fucking years and haven't got a goddamn thing out of it. We buried Bin Laden at sea. There ain't no deep state. Seriously, I think every one of these things is like a temperature. It's like sticking the thermometer up America's ass, and they're just trying to see if the temperature is right to kill that man.
And that's what it is. They're just floating the idea. They're waiting They're waiting to see until the outrage is over.
Yeah, once that turkey timer pops out, I think Air Force One's going down. Maybe Trump has a heart attack. Oh, well, he liked to eat fried chicken with a fork. Took 2 scoops of ice cream.
Yeah. Crazy. The thing that I'd like to see is what exactly does the Secret Service consider to be a valid threat?
Yeah, apparently somebody who's not rich and famous putting something on Facebook is a valid threat.
Yeah.
Nothing else, apparently, but, just some random crazy guy doing shit on Facebook is a valid threat.
That's crazy. I mean, it's at some point they're going to have to get hot on it.
Well, I just like to say, remember the outrage of non-media darling Americans who had the audacity to, paint Obama in a rather unflattering light. Treason, sedition, racist bigotry, blah, blah, blah.
Misogyny and the patriarchy.
The patriarchy is very real.
Yeah. How is Moldy Locks? We haven't heard from her in a couple of weeks.
I haven't heard from her in a while. I think she's going to be probably keeping it on the down low.
Yeah.
I see.
I don't understand how she hasn't been charged with rioting.
I don't either, but the mayor of Berkeley is sympathetic to Antifa.
Of course,
he's in several of their affiliate clubs. So he runs the cops. That's why. But I did see that the professor, I can't remember, Eric Clanton, I think was his name, who
the bike lock guy,
bike lock professor, exactly. I did see that he was videotaped at an Antifa meeting, which violates his probation or his parole or his terms of release prior to the actual court date.
Really?
Yeah, and it's a very public item. It's not that hard to find. Doofy guy in Texas found it. I'm sure that somebody in tech-savvy Berkeley, California could find it.
Yeah, but it's got to get to the sympathetic judge.
Oh yeah. I don't think that's gonna. Don't think that's gonna happen. All right, so Glock's complaint with the United States Army about the
modular handgun system.
Right, the modular handgun system. That complaint has been dismissed. It is the SIG 320.
That it is.
A company called Ghost Gun, which is somebody that makes those wonderful and completely horrid,
untraceable.
Dear Jesus, what if the Taliban got them? 80% lowers is actually making a 80% frame for the SIG 320. And since this is interesting because there's companies that make I believe the company is called Polymer 80, and they make an 80% frame for a Glock. The SIG 320 is a modular pistol, meaning that the serial number part is a part of a trigger group and carrier that sits inside of a plastic frame, meaning you could actually take out that numbered trigger group part and put it into a different frame, and you would legally still have the same gun.
So little bait and switch there, huh?
Well, they're making an 80% version of that little trigger grouping thing, and SIG has many of those the chassis, the full size and the compact size chassis available, and they're actually fairly reasonable, which is crazy coming from SIG, because I mean, as a SIG owner, there ain't nothing cheap about SIG.
I was going to say, SIG is not known for cheap or quality.
Well, they make quality things. You just got to know what to buy from SIG. And there's certain things I would not buy from SIG. I wouldn't buy a SIG 1911. I think that you're paying for name on that one. I don't think I'd buy many of the SIG 22 pistols. I'd not pay for any of the extras and upgrades of any of the newer SIG 226 or 228 series. I wouldn't pay for any of that. I don't necessarily like SIG's polymer pistols. I do like their 938. I think that's a bitchin' little thing. I think SIG makes excellent rifles.
Yes, that too.
But they are not cheap. I mean, $40 for a magazine.
Well, beats 70 or 100, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, yeah, but I mean, 70 or 100. What are we talking about? You know, that you get a mag. You've got something that's rare.
Yeah, that's the HK 2000.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, I forgot about yours. Yeah, that is kind of a tough one. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's necessarily a very common rifle.
Yeah,
So,
if I had some guy that could stamp sheet metal, that would be what I would want.
Well, I'll tell you what, a fairly popular and lower cost rifle is the Savage Model 11, and it's available in a couple different calibers, everything from like 22 250 up to I want to say it's available in 7.62 by 5.1, so spans everything. It's kind of a combination gun, and by combination I mean that it usually comes pre-stocked with sling mounts, and it'll have a scope and rings attached. It's kind of a ready to go out of the box gun. Usually like a Cabela Special or another big box retailer will have something. Well, looking around, I found a manufacturer, a guy who will make higher capacity magazines for these Savage rifles, and most of them have anywhere from a 3 to a 5 round magazine. Usually it's a 4 round magazine, and he will give you 10, 15, or 20 round capacity for $125 plus the cost of a standard magazine, because he has to take apart a standard magazine, use those parts, and then he mates it to, I want to say he mates it to like an HK 93 mag, you know, their 5.56, or it's something like in the 308 mags, like what was their 308? Anyways, yeah, so it's $120 plus the cost of a Savage mag, which is $40. Yeah,
well, you know, it may be worth it.
I think if you've got an issue where you've got to use a kind of bargain entry level bolt action rifle and you need 15 rounds, you've picked the wrong rifle.
Yeah, that's true.
I think at that point you should have looked at like maybe like one of those Mossberg MVPs or something that has the ability to take a NATO magazine or a both NATO magazines, the one in 308 and the 5.56. You know, I don't see the benefit in a $120, $160 extended magazine for a rifle that costs $400 out the door.
Yeah. Well, hey, we got to hit up some firearm safety. We're getting close to end game here.
Man, it's been a while. I don't know if I remember them all.
I ain't been safe in a while.
I ain't had that problem in a long time. First rule of firearm safety is every firearm is loaded until you visually and physically inspect and ensure that that firearm is not loaded. So go ahead and crack that action open, flip out that cylinder, look down the barrel. Make sure you do not reload it when you close it up. Rule number 2, keep the muzzle pointed in a safe direction. Do not cover anything you do not wish to destroy. Rule number 3, know what your target is and know what's beyond your target at all times. And rule number 4, the most important rule, is keep the booger hook off the bang switch until you are ready to discharge the firearm. There are no accidental discharges. There are only negligent discharges. And recently there was a story out of Georgia about a guy who went into a Dollar General and quote unquote dropped his pistol and shot himself in the ankle. Most pistols in the United States are drop safe. I do not find this story to be credible. I believe this man was screwing around with his pistol and shot himself in the foot.
Yeah, certainly. Not only that, there's a news story out there today of an individual who was attempting to demonstrate firearm safety and shot his own daughter. So, you know, the gun is not at fault. The idiot behind the gun is who is at fault.
Oh, Jesus, that's horrible.
It is. So, you know, it's that time of year.
Yeah, don't add to that. Be very, very safe. You know, if you have to rewind this section of the program and listen to the 4 rules again, but keep the booger hook off the bang switch until you're ready to. It's not a toy. You're not TJ Laser. There's no point for you. You know, trying to spin it. You know, you're not Doc Holliday.
Yeah. Well, you know, the interesting thing is that I'll be on the road next week, so I will try as much as I can to get and be online. But you know, this is the last hurrah for our daughter, so I may or may not be able to. Just get that out there. And you know, this past 2 weeks has been pretty rough on me, so hopefully I am on the mend.
I hope so too. And once again, congratulations to your daughter. That's a great accomplishment. She's going to do well in the future. She's got good parents and she's got pretty good base. So you did good.
We try.
You did good. So what's she looking at for a job?
This is the dreaded gap year.
There is no such thing as a gap year. That's fancy talk for being lazy.
Yeah, well, you know, this is your one chance in life to be that way.
So, as a part of
Lord knows I didn't have that option leaving my high school.
No, we didn't. No.
That was because number one, I didn't have a vagina in my house, and certainly the 2 sisters that we did have that had all that opportunity. No, us was get a job and get the hell up out of the house.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, we grew up in a different time, you know. We're probably the last generation that remembers phone numbers.
Well, sure, yeah. I had to remember 7 digits until you got home to write it down.
My God, I don't know if I can do that anymore.
Yeah. Somebody tells me their phone number, I'm like, okay.
Just, you know what I do anymore? I just say, look, call me real quick.
Yeah.
And then I just hang up on them.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the interesting thing is that, gosh, like I said, summer is upon us. You know, I'm going to be hopefully getting a chance to go out and do some shooting the next couple of weeks because I am, you know, believe it or not, it's a short time to get back to work.
Well, you enjoy your vacation. Congratulations, daughter. You see why not TV giving you what you get nowhere else.